I am not bagging on Elon, and but I'm trying to understand what just happened. Look, I'm used to Elon not following normal marketing paths, but pretty much everything about the Model 3 Highland launch is confusing to me like crazy. I did a video earlier today. If you haven't looked at it, you should definitely go take a look at it, talking about the potential Osborn problems. Now, I'll review. You guys gave me a lot of comments on that. I appreciate, you know how much I love your comments, and I try to respond. And I'm gonna look at those comments, and then I'm also going to give some commentary on some of the news coverage on the Highland. And then I've got some final thoughts at the end about some of the pricing cuts that have just taken place. All right, and that have been going on all along. So this is Randy Kirk. You know what to do. Hit like, subscribe, notify. Tomorrow morning, Larry Goldberg is going to be talking about some strategies, some stock strategies, and specifically Tesla stock strategies. But we'll get into things, we'll even get into a little bit about leaps. No, we're not going to give any advice. These are just things that he and I have learned over the years. All right. And then, of course, you want to join Patreon because you want one of these. I've come up with some new uses, even some more additional uses since the video this morning. Stay tuned for those uses. Okay, so in my view, and my view does not include actually sitting inside or driving the Highland. All I've got to go on is the spec, the appointments, the look, the reporting by some on YouTube who have driven the car. And all of that tells me that this car is a huge move by Tesla. It's so much more value with no increase in price when you take into consideration the recent cuts in the Model 3 to move inventory. The pricing right now would be in China, would be back to where it was 4 months ago. I forget exactly when it changed. So you can watch my 2 videos I've already done and you'll get it. I am totally blown away. I would buy the car if I was in the market. Other people are saying, oh yeah, I'm in, I want one. And then lots of YouTubers are reporting so far, and they're not seeing this as a refresh. They're not seeing this as just a nice improvement. They're seeing it as a major consequential move by Tesla. So if I have that kind of, what do I know? I'm a little guy. I've been marketing for 50 something years, more than that, actually, if you count what I was doing in my teens with my band and whatnot. But if I had this kind of a product that was this monumental and this was going to change everything, then I would have done a few things differently. I don't know. I would have had tons of my own content everywhere online. I would have had probably some kind of TV campaign, at least in China. I would have had a major reveal event in China with a simultaneous event in Europe and the United States, and I would have opened sales for all locations. What would it hurt to open sales for all locations? It's going to come out someday, even if it's not going to come out till January or February. Go ahead and put it in the offer the new one and the old one at the same time at different pricing. I don't know. That's what I would have done. All right. I also would not have done the introduction on a Friday of one of the most distracted 3-day weekends of the year. It's the end of vacations, back to school, et cetera, et cetera. I would have also invited the press to these events, which they wouldn't have gone to on a Labor Day weekend, but I would have invited the press so that they could get into the car. They could get up close and personal. They could potentially drive the car themselves or at least be driven around in the car. This would have created a huge amount of press over a few-day period and alerted a big percentage of the potential buying group to this product, right? I mean, wouldn't that work? Isn't that what a big major new car event supposed to look like? Let me know in the comments if I'm confused about what is the way that if you're going to do something like, I don't know, think back to major cars in the past. The Hummer comes to mind when that came out. Huge amount of press and activity. Think about computers. Think about when Apple introduces a new computer or a new phone. Okay. So maybe the extremely low-key announcement was designed to keep the new car out of the press. Was the goal to minimize exposure since the car will not be available in the United States until, well, we don't know when? Is there going to be a part 2 of this rollout that will cause a new level of buzz, even a greater level of buzz? Some people have suggested maybe that this would be a rollout with the Cybertruck at the same time. Whenever they do the handoff, they'll have the model M3 Highland at that same time. Maybe they'll even have the Model Y at that time. Who knows? Maybe maybe there's some other kind of event they're planning downstream in the United States. Well, okay, maybe that's what it is. Well, then there's the question of the Model Y and the Osborn effect. I brought this up earlier today, and I brought it up on X too, and some agree with me that this is a real problem. But some, however, felt that maybe it wasn't such a big deal, and I was just being a fuddy, fear, uncertainty, and doubty. Okay. Well, anyway, some said that one of the reasons they thought I was just being over the top worried about something that wasn't important, they said, well, most of the public won't even be aware. They'll just come into the showrooms and they'll go on the website and they'll just buy their 3 or their Y without even knowing that there's a monumental improvement package that's only weeks or months away. These will be the low information buyers. Well, let's think about that for a minute. Okay. So let's go with that theory. 100% of new buyers are low information. Well, no, that wouldn't be true. Not 100%. All right. So what number are we going to give it? All right. Maybe 80% are low information buyer. That still seems high, but I'll take that number for the United States. Probably not for Europe, and definitely not for China. We know from press reporting that the Chinese car buyer is high information. They're paying very careful attention to everything. For them, this is a prestige purchase, and they're very conscious of every single dollar. So they want to buy it right. So let's say 50% of the Chinese buyers are low information, and they'll just go ahead and buy anyway. All right, well, let's see. Does that mean that Tesla and Elon Musk were willing to allow the China population the opportunity, the folks who are ready to buy, the folks that are got the money and they're heading to the showroom or heading to the website, they're ready to cut that group in half in terms of the ones that will actually then go through with the purchase? No, you can't do that. Now, you could have done that last year in the beginning, like a year and a half ago when the waits were months out in advance, but not now. The waits are weeks in advance. People are not waiting for these cars at this point. So it's just going to cut your demand to the extent that there's a demand problem. The demand problem is they want all these new improvements, or they want the price to be lower, or they're waiting because they're seeing all this stuff that's going to happen. So, and then if you go to the United States, you don't even want the 20% of the ready to buy now folks to not buy now. This is a super significant amount, and it's more than that. Trust me, it's way more than 20%. And in China, it's probably more than 50%. And in Europe, it's also significant. So you don't want them to stop buying Model 3s in the United States, and you don't want them to stop buying Model Ys around the world. This could be a really bad way to end your year. Anyway, I guess I'm done with this rant. Let me know. I mean, am I completely wrong here? I saw on X today that folks are already photoshopping what the Y would look like if they just took the body features, the body changes, the new headlights, the new taillights, the new design in the back, the new slightly different design in the front, which is way sharper, way more sporty, way more aggressive. Those look really nice. So they're already doing this. Is already happening on X. So even if there's a 50% chance that the Osborn effect will hurt sales between now and the release of the M3 in the US and the MY internationally, isn't that enough reason to be concerned? All right, what about the reviews? So I'm not surprised that there's not a lot of reviews. Again, it was released on a Friday. The press wasn't invited except for very specific press in certain countries. This using this guy, Wow. Car Wow, sure, that was a good idea. 80 million subscribers, and a few other people have been able to drive the car. And so there's some nice YouTube videos up, but it's not the kind of stuff that you would normally, it's not the level at which you would normally do a major breakthrough thing like this. All right. So most of the reviews so far are from people like Tesla, Roddy, and Electric, but even they are muted in their response because what? Reporters are not favorably disposed to not having enough grist for their mill. They don't like secondhand opinions and spec sheets from the manufacturer. I'm okay with that. I'm not a reporter. I'm a YouTube chatterbox. I'm a talking head that is enthusiastic about Tesla to the nth degree and is excited about what they're doing. I'm not going to be dishonest on my reporting, but what I saw, I was extremely excited. But a regular reporter who's reporting on all kinds of things all day long, they want to have more reality, touchy-feely, get in the car, feel that cloth, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's talk about one more thing here. Price cuts. You may be interested to know that the current pricing of all 4 vehicles on the base model is almost unchanged from January 2021. I mean, in some cases, it's exactly the same or within a few $100s. In some cases, it's maybe 1,000 up or 1,000 down. I mean, it's almost unchanged. Prices went up dramatically in 21 and first half of 22 because of the massive demand with the shortages that were out there and the increased costs in the raw materials and other things and transportation, et cetera. And I would venture to guess that the total cost of goods on each of those vehicles right now is no more than it was in January 2021 and probably less. The raw materials that went up so much, those raw materials have come down. The transportation costs that went nuts, the transportation costs have come all the way back down. All of the various aspects, labor's probably gone up a little bit, maybe some other expenses, some interest expense, but Tesla doesn't have any interest expense. Tesla generates interest. They put their $21 billion out there and people pay them interest. So I'm going to guess that with the improvements that they've made, the changes that they've made in every one of the 4 vehicles, that these cars are now costing less to manufacture than they were in 2021. That is going to start showing up in the numbers in the 3rd and 4th quarter earnings, and even more so next year in the 1st quarter. Just something to think about. Most people think, oh, the price cuts. No, these were price cuts from these high levels that were nothing that Tesla would have done if it hadn't have been for the pandemic and all the problems that happened in the supply chains. All right, just something to think about. Tomorrow morning, you want to hit that notify button, like, subscribe, notify. You want to see Larry Goldberg tomorrow morning. He and I will talk about these issues that I mentioned in terms of some stock strategy. I think you'll find it extremely valuable, extremely interesting. And then tomorrow night, I'll have my regular, what would normally be on Sunday night show. That'll be on Monday night. And on Tuesday morning, we will go back to the news show in the morning, the After the Bell show. And then some of you, a lot of you, a bunch of you bought these today. I had somebody buy 4 of them. I had a couple of people buy 2 of them. I had a whole bunch of people buy 1. Most of them were actually purchases, if I'm honest with you. They paid the $25 or times however many they were buying. This gift box, you got to think about the gifts. And I said I got some more uses for this. I realized this thing weighs 7 ounces. It can be a weight, a paper weight. You can use it as a weight in various aspects. You could use it. What was the other idea I had? Oh yeah, I've been opening boxes. I have one out in my shipping area, and I realized that I could open packages. Because it doesn't have a sharp edge, and it's pretty thick, as you know, because it's the same thickness as a Cybertruck. But it's thin enough that I could, putting pressure, and it does weigh a lot, I could actually open some boxes. Not always. A couple of times I had to grab a box cutter to get those open. But anyway, those are a couple of more uses. The uses I came up with this morning were you need them for a friend, your boss, your employees, your brother. You need one for the outdoor grill. You need one for the to put in your cooler when you're going down to the beach, you need one at the cabin. So that's why I think one guy said, "You're right, Randy," and he bought 4. So anyway, $25, information below, paypal.me//Randy Kirk in lowercase letters. I've also put my email down there for folks that somehow that doesn't work for them. They can go into PayPal and use my email. If you want to go on to Patreon at the $10 level, then you get one for free. So there you go. And by the way, my books have also been selling a lot the last 2 days. Is that you? Did you finally buy the book? Don't forget to buy the book, buy the book, buy the book. All right. Thank you so much, all of you, for supporting this channel. We've grown so much in our first 8 months. We are now, I think, yes, we're over 3 million views. so far. So that's not too bad for 8 months for an old guy. Huh? All right. It's been great talking to you.